This presentation will show you how to register on My Writing Lab and how to use it. My Writing Lab comes included with your textbook in either English 092 or 093. If for some reason you buy a used book, or you buy the book somewhere other than at Lawson State's bookstore, you can buy My Writing Lab Access separately. You can't buy the card off the shelf in the bookstore, but you can buy a code online with a credit card for $25. So, to register yourself on My Writing Lab, start by going to mywritinglab.com. Since you're a new user and a student, you'll click here. If you have the card that came with your textbook, you already have an access code. If you don't have the card and you want to buy access with a credit card, you'll choose I need to buy access. You have to agree to the legal license agreement. So just scroll down and choose I accept. You're just promising not to do anything illegal with the product. Most students don't already have a Pearson Education account, so you'll choose no. And it will ask you to create a login name and a password for yourself. I recommend that for your login name, you choose the same login that you use for Blackboard. Your password can't be exactly as it is in Blackboard because the company wants your password to have at least 8 characters in it with at least 1 letter and 1 number. So the easiest way to meet their requirements and also create a password that's easy for you to remember, I'd recommend using your birthday just like you do for Blackboard, but then adding your initials to it. Keep in mind that passwords are case sensitive, so if you put your initials in uppercase when you register, they need to be uppercase every time, or lowercase. Your access code is a series of nonsense words. These are tucked underneath the small flap on the edge of your cardboard brochure. So just enter your access code exactly as you find it there, and just be sure to type carefully. Hit the tab key to go from field to field. Before hitting next, just double check that you've done it exactly right. Now I need to give the company my first name and last name. This is not my username, this is my actual name. And I'll give it an email address. I need to be very careful putting in my email address here that I get it exactly right. This is the only way that the company will communicate with you. Say for example someday you forget your password and you would like them to send it to you. This is the address they'll use. So if you give them an incorrect address, there's no way for them to contact you. You can use your Lawson address or you can use your personal address, but just be very careful when you enter it. We're going to choose United States from a list of countries, and it's the first one. The zip code of the school is so that the company can find Lawson easily from a list of schools, and you don't want to have to scroll through a list of 1,000 schools that use my writing lab, so this just narrows the search down. So our zip code is 35221, and that will narrow it down to just schools in the area, and we can choose Lawson State from that list. The company would like you to choose a security question. If you ever had to prove your identity to them, this is a question they'll ask you. So maybe I will choose what is my mother's year of birth, and maybe my mother was born in 1945. Check this if you want to know about other products from the company by email, and if you don't want to be bothered with that, then just leave it unchecked. You're now registered. Even if you're not planning to work this very first day that you're registering, go ahead and log in this first time, because you need to register into your specific class section, and this is when you do it. So I will choose log in now. And I'm going to use the login name and the password that I just created for myself. Notice what it's asking you. It'll only ask you this the very first time you log in. It's asking, do you want to join your instructor's course, or do you want to work on your own? It's very important that you join your instructor's course. That's the only way your instructor can have access to what you've done and assign a grade to it. So you won't be able to be graded if you choose work on your own. So we'll choose join your instructor's course, and it wants the code for that course. This is something your instructor will provide you with. When your instructor sets up the course, this code is created, so your instructor will pass this along. So for this class, the code looks like this. It's confirming which class that code belongs to. I can click here to start working. From now on, when you log in, it won't bother you with all that. It'll just take you straight here. This home page is not particularly useful to most people. You probably want to go straight to the study plan in this second tab. These are not individual assignments. These are major sections. Notice if I click on one, it will open up and show me what's contained in that section. I can close it by clicking it again. If I want to look in this section, click on it or close it. Your instructor will tell you which assignments are due on which day. It's probably on some kind of class calendar. So let's say that my instructor wants me to do these first 8 assignments for my first set of exercises in my writing lab. So I'll click on the first assignment here, and notice that it gives me the steps to follow. There are 3 videos to watch. There are 2 practice quizzes, one called Recall and one called Apply. And there's a writing activity, but notice that this particular instructor does not have that writing activity required. The 2 quizzes are required. They have the star next to them, but the writing activity this time is not required. If I click on the video, a new window will pop up. There is audio, so I want to have my speakers on or my headphones on.
Your personal writing ritual.
You can view the videos as many times as you need to. Some of them do seem to move a little quickly, So it's recommended that you watch as many times as you need to feel like you really understand the lesson. Notice that these sections are synced up with your textbook. They're from the same company. So you can find the same section titles and the same material covered in your textbook. So a lot of people like to have their textbook open to that section while they're working on this. When you take a review quiz, click here to begin, and don't take the quiz until you're sure that you really understand that lesson. Sometimes it's multiple choice, like in this example. Sometimes it's a little more involved. Sometimes you're actually doing some writing or some editing or revising, things like that. Let's say that I think that that this is the answer, and I submit it. If I'm incorrect, it'll show me what the correct answer was. It'll explain the problem. And notice what it's offering me down here at the bottom. Do you need a refresher? Choose a resource from the drop-down menu. I can stop right here in the middle of the quiz and watch any of these videos again, and then come right back to where I left off in the quiz. So everything's very low pressure, open book. You have multiple chances, right? So this is more like a homework assignment than it is like a real quiz. You can go on to the next question, right? Most of these quizzes have 10 questions. To pass, most instructors set it up where you need at least 70%. So you need to get 7 out of 10 correct. Notice that you have more than one chance to pass these quizzes. For this quiz, you have 3 sets available. For this one, you have 7 sets available. That does not mean that you need to take the quiz 7 times. It does not mean that you need to take the quiz 7 times. There are 7 sets available just if you need them because you're having trouble passing it. I would recommend if you try a quiz 3 or 4 times and you still can't pass it, it might be time to sit down with your instructor and let your instructor help you through that trouble spot rather than just trying and trying and trying and not getting anywhere. Instructors can come along actually and reset those number of sets available too. So if maybe you can't get it on the first 3 tries for this one and you run out of chances, but you're pretty sure you understand it now, you know you're going to pass it the 4th time, you can ask your instructor to reset those to give you a fresh set of 3. Once you pass a quiz, it will show you your score. Since I scored above a 70, I don't need to take the 2nd set and the 3rd set. Once you get above a 70, or whatever threshold your instructor sets, it's usually 70, then just move on to the next quiz. When you finish a quiz, it shows you results. You can review which ones you got correct and which ones you didn't get correct. When you're finished, you can just return to the topic. You'll see your scores. I have passing scores on the things that are required. So I'm finished with this particular assignment. I can return to my study plan. And I can see that that first assignment has been mastered. Notice the check mark. The grade book, student detail, shows you the grades you've gotten on the different assignments so you can mark your progress. This is probably what your instructor will look at when they're going to assign a grade. So now I would just move back to my study plan, move on to the next assignment. If you're ever having trouble with my writing lab, just sit down with your instructor. They'll be happy to help you through any trouble spots.